think you're on mute, Carlos.
I'm on mute. Thank you, Peter. I was just
There we
saying good
go.
morning, guys. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Peter. How are you doing today?
I am good. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good.
Okay.
Um, Excellent, guys.
Trying a
Let's
new
yeah.
camera position today. Now my head looks giant. Maybe I need to find an in-between spot here. I don't know. I'm
Let's see.
trying to balance it. Oh, good. Let's zoom in on it.
Let's
That's
zoom in
perfect.
and make it
See my
even
big
bigger.
oblong head
Nah, you look
there. All
fine,
right.
my friend.
Morning, everyone.
Um, Good morning, good morning. All right, guys, let's jump in. Let's give Jared a thank you over in the chat for the pre-market engineering the markets every morning, Monday through Thursday. Um, cool. Gappers list today, guys. We have quite a bit on both sides. Some names that we like very much, and others that we are going to find out if we like them at all as we go through this list. But we do have Meta here in the gap up list. We have DKNG as well and some other names that we're familiar with that are not sure are going to be great traders. And then on the other side, we have Rivian, which is probably the most interesting thing on the gap down list today. We'll dive into that to see what's going on there as far as that goes when we go through this. So quite a bit of stuff going on. Quick look at yesterday. We won't spend too much time on it because man, it was a tough trading day, at least for me. For any opening range type play, it was very, very tough to trade. Although looking at it now, Tesla turned out to be a beautiful open range breakdown, but it was a tough trade with these pullbacks that you were getting. Eventually, did sell down most of the day there, as you can see. We also had Meta on deck, which again kind of gave you a few fake outs here. Couldn't get going, drops back down, head backs up to the high of the day eventually. But again, just a tough trading day as far as finding opportunities. Just things didn't seem to want to pick a direction here. Again, at this market open, here's Apple. Apple had a nice pop, but then drastically just gave it all back here. And for me, once I see a stock that does this, very difficult to trust their next move until they get till they kind of get a little more stable here. They did do just that, and actually ended up being an amazing trade yesterday there. So as you can see there, and here we have Nvidia. Nvidia again, one of the probably one of the worst tickers yesterday morning on my list, right? I mean, just the overlapping of each candle here, that first hour or so. But then it gives you a really nice break, and not for long. Gives you a nice little pop here. Doesn't last long because then you start getting these very weird candles. You could tell the difference. What is after 10:45 or so? How weird this thing starts trading, and you have to be careful with that. Very algo-like trading there from Nvidia for most of the parts in the afternoon. So that was yesterday. Peter, let's get to our market news and what's going on for today.
Yeah, yesterday was a good example, by the way, of it just depends what you're looking at. I had only two trades on one on Tesla and one on AMD, and I had a great day. So, like I said, I sort of like those days where nothing specific was moving, and I can focus on my same old, same old. So today we'll see. Today's another story because we start on the 2-day testifying by Powell. Today's with the Senate, tomorrow's with the House. That happens at 10, and that's really the news, right? We've got wholesale inventories coming out at 10. We've got consumer credit this afternoon. Those don't matter. What matters is this Powell testimony that's going to affect the markets. Markets are sitting green generally right now, actually globally and in North America. Who knows how long that'll last? The problem with this testimony, exactly like Jared was saying a little bit earlier in engineering the markets for our members, is that we just don't know exactly when he may say something that could affect the markets. The testimony, may not start on time. It's scheduled for 10, but who knows when it actually starts or how long it goes. They don't usually publish a length on it because it's as long as the Senate wishes to, ask questions and grill him. They normally have a cutoff around 3 or 4 hours, I think. Maybe you guys can correct me if you know any better. It just seems to me that there's usually a cutoff where they say like we're done, right? Or Powell just says, I don't want to answer questions anymore. I'm leaving. But usually tries not to do that because, of course, these are, the supposed to be the decision makers. So, but the problem for us as traders means that anything could happen at any, in those hours. So be careful, sort of late morning, mid afternoon, we could see some weird moves on the market, probably related to that testimony at any time. So if you get into a trade, like that's okay. Just be aware that that may happen. Other than that, we don't, like I said, not much other news. We've got some earnings. We'll talk about that. A lot of the earnings plays from last night and this morning are in the gappers list. But I really honestly think like the single biggest thing we got to be aware of is this Powell testimony, because we don't expect anything radically new. But again, we've seen the market react to even restatement of previously stated policies. So, there could just be a reiteration of the intent, and we could still see the market, sort of bounce around a little bit. So that's the big thing.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that for sure. I'm sure it will be exciting, hopefully. All right, let's take a look at what we have here, guys. I'm going to Control A and I'm going to remove some of the stuff on our gappers list from this morning. Control X takes care of that. And let's see what we got going on here. Starting with PTGX. This is up 23%, 408,000 shares traded. Doesn't look good right now, guys. Not a low flow, sitting at 43.5 million shares flow, but the pre-market action doesn't look great right now. Again, I hate stocks that do this. They get this one initial pop here, they get this drop, a couple of bucks, and now we're just kind of moving sideways, trying to figure out what's next. So be careful on this if you're going to be looking at it. For me, it's not in play right now unless we start getting some steady trading out of it. I'm not seeing that yet.
Yeah, this is a biotech. They had an announcement of positive top line results for their phase 2B on a clinical trial. So that's what was causing the movement, if you're wondering what the news was.
All right, excellent. Next on the list is SE, and this is up 7.7, was higher, kind of dropping here from the pre-market highs. Oh, C limited. Yeah, we've seen this actually before. It doesn't trade very well. I usually end up not keeping it on my list. Today seems like they have something going on. Oh, here it
Yeah, they
is.
had earnings, and they beat their numbers, so overall good. This is an offshore company, a Singapore-based. They did actually have numbers that were surprisingly good, which is why we're seeing the pop up, and like good volume. I mean, the price action looks good now, but as Carlos said, I mean, look at that daily chart, right? You can see how it gaps a lot, and then has really small candles where it sort of stops where it started. So, maybe today's its day, but I would agree with you. Normally, it's not a good player, but maybe worth watching today, because it may be less affected by the Powell testimony activity, being a Singapore-based company, than others.
Yeah, yeah, agree there. Next, we have a DKS, and this is Dick's Sporting Goods, and I'm sure this is earning because the only time we ever see this ticker do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
And yes, it is. Once again, good numbers. They beat their earnings and had good numbers, and they sort of are forecasting at the high end of their range. So the market loves when the forecast gets a little higher, which is surprising, by the way. Surprising to me, anyways, that their forecast is that high. Volume isn't that great on it. It's one of those that I always have high hopes for, and I think I've traded it once or maybe twice in 5 years,
hmm,
and that's about it, because it just
yeah,
doesn't tend to move all that well.
yeah. I agree 100%. I'll put it on my possibles list in case anybody asks for it again, which they usually do. But again, it's just one that for me, I just don't don't have good trading opportunities when it comes to this ticker. SI this morning, I do like, you guys know how I feel about these pops and these overreactions. I love to short these if we get an opportunity. We saw that a couple of days ago with some other ticker that also popped up quite a bit and sold off. So that's a play I like to see here. So if you are looking for something, that could be it. But for the most part, be very careful. SI continues to make noise here, but it's not really doing anything, right? It's just hitting the numbers. It's going up 3%, above 2%. It's going above 100,000, and it's moving around quite a bit here. Their ATR in the next couple of weeks is probably going to drop below 50 cents, right? Because they're not moving a whole lot here, and they probably won't be showing up on our list. But we'll have to see. But there's nothing here that's tradable at all, right? This stock is one
Yeah,
that
you got to keep in mind
stay away.
SI's dropped 60, 70% in the
Yeah,
last week. So, to get a bounce like this of 5, 10, even 20% wouldn't be surprising, because it's such at a low level compared to where it was just a week ago. But
yeah.
yeah, it's likely just to sort of be choppy and bounce around. It also is likely to, have movement in the morning and then sort of really taper off in the afternoon.
Yep, absolutely. Next we have DKNG here. This one is a hit or miss. It can, it can trade well at times. It depends on what it's doing. This morning the volume seems very light though. And what's the news on it? Is there anything going on that's causing this? Just it's not a big pop. It's only 2%.
Yeah, I did not see this on the earnings list. I don't know if I just missed it, but I mean, this is DraftKings. They used to be sort of a big in play, almost a meme type stock. Never quite a meme stock, but sort of in that same vein. I mean, I do see that they're launching an online sports book in the state of Massachusetts coming up, but that's really the only news on it. That doesn't seem like enough to move it, but maybe it is. Maybe Massachusetts are big gamblers. I don't know. All repressed Massachusettsans. Massachusetts? What do you call somebody from
Yeah,
Massachusetts?
I don't know, Peter, but you're definitely
Anybody know?
you're
I don't know what
definitely
Massachusettsonian, a masshole.
we
Is
will
that
wait
really
for
it?
John.
No.
We wait for John to correct us here. But I know I heard Bostonian, right? Bostonian. I feel from Boston.
Yeah.
It's but from
They
Massachusetts,
act
I don't
people
know.
actually called massholes? No,
No,
that can't be
I
right.
don't think I don't think that's what it's
That would
called.
be awesome if
We
it was, but
it's not Friday yet. We are going south very quickly here. All right, let's see what we got going on.
I
So
have to look this up
DKG
now.
guys, another possible as well. We'll see what happens here. This is a good meme stock as well. Like if it can get going, we've seen a meme before. Not looking too hot right now as far as pre-market, but we'll see where that goes. All right, one that we definitely want to have on our list. Hopefully, it's going to be Meta. Meta this morning up 2.3, 607,000 shares traded. That is looking really nice as of right now, up 2.3. So, any news, Peter, or is just overall movement that they usually can get with no news? We've seen it plenty of times.
I was still looking up what somebody from Massachusetts was called. They're called Massachusettsans. Massachusettsans. Anyways, I can't even say it.
Mm.
But
Did you Google?
anyways,
Did you Google that?
I did. I
Let's
did.
give
But anyways,
Peter a thumbs up for the extra effort on googling how to.
oh my goodness. On Meta, they look. It's always funny to me when companies' stocks jump when they announce layoffs. So they've actually announced more layoffs. And overnight, I think it was overnight last night. Well, it came out sort of this morning that they're going to lay off another several thousand people. That's got the company moving because they're cutting costs as opposed to looking at it like, oh, obviously their business is failing, or at least
Yeah, yeah.
struggling. So
Some of those
the
hot
other thing that
keywords.
could be affecting it, and Jimmy mentions it here, was the second item in the news. The ban of TikTok is more speculative in terms of what the impact will be
Hmm.
um, on Facebook and Instagram, their associated brands, if you will. But yeah, I mean that could be having an uplift. I don't know that it's going to be a boon for them financially because I mean, I don't think they really lost a lot of advertising revenue to TikTok, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, yeah. Now, is the ban for the entire app? I know they were trying to ban it for anyone that works in politics or whatever. They
Yeah,
were
it amazed me. I mean, I think like a lot of people, I'm saying I was totally surprised. It was North America wide, actually, U.S. and Canada. They banned TikTok on all government devices,
right.
and I was really surprised that like it took so long. What took so long? I would have thought, why would you ever need TikTok on a government device? Really?
Yeah, yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Maybe I'm missing something there,
Yeah,
but
yeah. It's a very good
I
point.
don't think I don't think there's a lot of like training videos that they were watching on on your government phone. But anyways, to communicate with young voters, well, so I mean, a politician could do that, but they could do that from a non-government device because you could do that when
Yeah,
you're going into office. Once you're in office, I would argue whatever.
you do
Anyways,
that from a marketing office or something, not from the person's
yeah.
device. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyways, whatever. But so so I think we've got a couple of items of news on Meta. Meta's going to move, on its own. Look, it's going to be much more heavily influenced by just its inclusion on the big funds, right? Keep in mind how big the float is on Meta, right? I mean, this is a 2 billion share float and heavily institutionally traded. So, they're yes, there's some good news on it, but they're going to be looking more at the longer term prospects of the company to move this thing, and it's likely to move with the market today. Again, keep in mind I'm thinking all of these, the ones that I like, the Metas, the Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, right? All those are going to be much more heavily impacted by any aberrant comments that come out of Powell's mouth as he's in front of the Senate.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let's see what's gapping down today, guys. I'm gonna put Meta here on our main list. It looks looking good right now. I do like that one for a potential play today. NTNX, we've seen this on our list plenty of times. So horrible trading ticker as far as the daily goes, and intraday action. So normally I don't put this on my list. Today they're down 7%, just barely getting above 100,000 shares traded here. Not a great pre-market activity. Peter, is there anything that maybe we should be considering on this? But for the most part, probably gonna scrap this.
NTNX jumps up every once in a while. Usually it's just around earnings these days because it doesn't seem to ever be up there again. They do have earnings. I don't think they've announced yet. I don't even know when I know it's coming up. I think it's at the close today. So this would just be in advance of earnings, I think. Let me just look it up here. But I'm pretty sure that they haven't announced already, because if they have, then I've missed it. Yeah, it is at the close today. No, it was at the close yesterday. I lied. But honestly, I don't see the results. So, anyways, it must be bad because they're on the top of the gap down list.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they apparently don't have a lot of market coverage, because I'm not really seeing a lot of articles talking about their earnings. So, but actually, this one says that they actually topped estimates. I'm not sure what's going on, to be honest. Let me look into it. I'll see if I get anything good.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see what happens. This was AM this morning. They are down 6.1, 678,000. Had a big day yesterday, guys, going from about 650 all the way to 13 bucks here. Let's take a look on how that traded. No pre-market activity yesterday, but just look at the pop you got here with significant volume, about 50 million shares traded. Any reason that's causing this move, and is there something that maybe we can get a second continuation on?
Yeah, this is a little of a weird one. AM has announced that they're voluntarily moving from the New York Stock Exchange to the NASDAQ. That's going to take effect on the 16th of March. So it's coming up, and clearly the market it's a little uncertain, if nothing else, about it, causing the drop this morning. I rarely see stocks move exchanges, but this is a decision they've made for whatever reason to move from one exchange to another. This is Ambrix. Maybe they need to buy a vowel. Ambrix. Anyways, AMBRX is the name of the company. But that's the story behind it, and that's why it's moving.
All right, gotcha.
Going back to NTNX, I understand why I couldn't find a lot of news on it. So they were supposed to have earnings this morning. They did sort of announce revenues, which beat the numbers. However, they've got an ongoing audit committee investigation, which they say has prevented them from being able to report on the expenses side. So whenever you first, remind people that you've got an audit going on, and secondly, use it as an excuse to not provide numbers, that makes the market nervous. So I understand why NTNX has dropped now, because they just haven't provided the numbers they said due to an audit review. So that's a good reason for it to drop, and it could cause some nervousness in this. Volume isn't huge, but that's interesting news that might be worth watching. We'll have to see, if we get more volume into the open or right after. Yeah, exactly.
Good
After,
point.
what are you hiding?
Yeah, yeah.
That's usually
Usually it's never good.
Right.
Usually it's not good.
And they may not be hiding anything, but it's just one of
Right.
those. That's the nervousness, and reasonably so, right? It's not usually good when you fail to report your numbers for any reason.
Yeah, yeah, I agree 100%. Here is a Rivian, guys. So Rivian's been making some noise the last couple of days. You can see here some of these candles, the drop we had last week, and recovered nicely, and then we're back down again. So back down to 1572 seems to be the low this morning. So some good activity here, some good volume. What's the latest and greatest on this one? We had earnings on this already, so it's not that, but definitely something is moving this one today.
Yeah, there's two items of news here, and Rivian for me is one of the best targets I'm seeing so far this morning. So first, they've announced a recall. Now that's not unusual, but auto manufacturers announce recalls all the time. In fact, there's 3 other EV companies, including Tesla, that have recalls underway. So the fact that they've got a recall, and being a young car company, you got to sort of expect that. But that hit, and that's problematic for them. The other thing is that I think, and this is the bigger impact, they've announced a convertible note offering worth $1.3 billion. And whenever you dilute the value of the current shares, I can't, especially is what I'm trying to say,
Mm-hmm.
with a convertible note, because essentially you're trying to offload debt, but you're also promising shares as part of this. That's directly dilutive to the share value. So that's having, I think, the bigger impact on Rivian today.
All right, that makes sense, guys. Worth putting on here, guys. Down 6%. I like the volume right now. Pre-market action, especially after 7:45, looking really nice at the moment. Let's hope that continues on Rivian. Last on our list is going to be Billy, and Billy at the moment not doing a whole lot, just barely getting above the numbers here, above that 100,000 shares traded, and I just don't see a whole lot happening right now. So Chinese tickers have been quiet the last 2 days. Haven't seen a whole lot coming out of them besides Billy here. Um, it's just been a little bit quiet. You could tell here Baba too, just going sideways after having a nice drop here in about a month or so. Since January, we had the huge pop up here, then we had the drop, and then just kind of going sideways a little bit. So interesting stuff there. We'll be on the lookout when this thing is ready to break out again. It will provide us some good opportunities, but doesn't look like it will be today. Peter, anything you like on your list this morning?
Well, I'll just mention a couple that I was also keeping an eye on. Cara, CARA, missed their numbers in earnings overnight. And TCOM, Trip.com, beat their numbers, and that's positive. TCOM doesn't usually trade with a lot of volume pre-market. Neither one of these, are moving great. But just in case you're following them or interested, that's the news on those. I think the thing that I like the most, I've been surprised at how much I've been enjoying trading Tesla. So Tesla to me is worth watching, especially with the general news with recalls. People are picking up on that a little bit. That may have an impact. I also think Tesla's, because of the talk recently of their debts and how they're managing it. As we all know how Elon spent a lot of money and converted some stock to take care of his Twitter acquisition. Tesla has a little more debt than people would like, and if there's an announcement of a change in interest rates, again coming from the Powell testimony, I think Tesla's going to take a hit, whether it's warranted or not. It's probably to be one of the first to react. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be keeping watching. I do see that Bashilto on YouTube is mentioning Uber. I haven't looked at Uber. Maybe you can put it up there, Carlos. We'll see how
Yeah.
it's doing yet this morning.
It's pretty
Uh,
quiet right now as far as movement, so it's not really gapping up or down. I do see some volume on here at 1.6 million shares traded. And if you guys remember, we saw this a lot yesterday too, where stocks had heavy volume, but not really good movement, right? They had a lot of volume, a lot of our usual suspects. The issue with Uber, guys, is man, it trades so bad, even on days where it should trade well when it is in play. As far as day trading, it is one of these tickers that I'm very cautious if I'm going to take a trade on it. Today, there's nothing here exciting me to put this on my list, Peter. I'm not sure if you see any news on this at all. Um,
I mean, they continue to try and expand into different areas. There was an announcement that they are partnered with I think it's the Tampa International Airport to
mhm.
be able to allow Uber Eats to sort of get into the airport grounds. Usually that's restricted area, right? They don't allow the importation of outside food. So however that's going to work, that in of itself isn't big news, but it might signal that they're trying to sort of get into maybe all the airports and different areas, which would have a bigger impact. So a little bit of news, but nothing huge.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. All right, let's take a look at some of the stuff here on our chat as well. We have Nvidia. I see that one being thrown here by Michael. Michael, let's see what we got going on here with Nvidia. Pretty quiet right now as far as volume, but again, today's going to be one of those weird, funky starts, I believe, to the market. Kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with Mr. JP there. I think Nvidia will be one to put on deck alongside some of our other usual suspects as well.
Yeah, Nvidia is still continuing to be one of the lead stocks people like to talk about for AI, right? They've always been good, like I said earlier, about jumping on the trend. Obviously, their graphics cards were seen as the foremost card you'd want to have to do crypto mining. Now they're talking about their products and how they're going to benefit AI for all those that are looking to run AI engines. So I think that's more fluff than it is substance. But that news, hey, it doesn't matter, right? That fluff can cause the stock to move a lot. So if people are bullish, if they're feeling bullish, then the stock goes up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, let's see what else we're looking at, guys. What else you guys like this morning? Let's take a look here. We have Microsoft. See a couple of you guys throwing out Microsoft. Melanie also in our YouTube chat mentioning Microsoft and chip as well. Let's see here. Microsoft this morning. We're not up by much. We do have some volume. Had an okay run the last couple of days. Could be interesting. I don't want to completely dismiss it, but I'm not seeing anything over explosive right now on this one at
Melanie
the
doesn't
moment.
want people looking at Microsoft. I think it's her personal stock. So
Oh, it is.
just
Um,
she must have deep pockets if it's her personal stock because it trades a lot of volume on a daily basis. So
yes, it sure
she
does.
just she's don't talk about it, leave it alone. All right, moving on then. Somebody mentioned AMD. That's always near and dear to my heart. I don't think there's any news on AMD. It's not in play today, but hey, look, I always like it. Moves well.
Yeah. Hamish was confirming here or advising there's some layoffs coming off from Microsoft as well to start this week. So that could be something to pop it up, as we mentioned with Meta. That always seems to be something good for the bottom line when companies, need to make changes. So I'll have it on my secondary now. We'll see where it goes from here. Pretty quiet right now, though. And then heading over to AMD, as you mentioned, again, all very similar, guys. Not really gapping up or down. They're just kind of hanging around waiting to see, what this market is going to do, which at the moment, the market is pretty flat. We'll see some action at the market open, of course, but I think as we've been talking about this morning, when the speeches comes on, that's when things will start to get rolling, depending on what it is said on these meetings. Um, Snap, you're giving us Snap here. Let's take a look, Chip. Snap, what's going on there? Any action on Snap? A little bit of a pop. 1.5, very light volume though. Had a big day yesterday. This could be part of the whole TikTok thing, unless there's anything else going on, right? So we will see. I think
Well,
that yeah,
yeah, as I mentioned, I mean, Snap, they were talking, they were creating noise about their foray into AI. Still don't know what
yeah,
that means. Again, this could be speculation based on they're going to benefit from TikTok. They're a much more direct competitor to TikTok than some of the Meta properties, just because they also deal in sort of short-term videos. As you guys, here at Bearable Traders like to make fun of me. I'm the only person that uses Snapchat because that's how I talk to my kids. So
yeah.
apparently, it's only me that would benefit from it. But it's the company's still rolling. Somebody else must use it.
I know a couple of people in my family that use it in my age group that use it a ton and they love it. I'm not one of them, but yeah. So again, not a whole lot going on right now. Snap is a very tricky one to trade. You need heavy volume on this one, guys. So yesterday you had that. Look at the volume you had here. You had almost what 80 million shares traded compared to the days before where there was not a whole lot going on, and you got a big move because of that volume. So make sure that if you are going to get something here, you have the volume coming in for this one, or else it could be one of the most choppiest stocks that I ever seen, that I ever traded before in my entire trading career. It is really, really choppy. So be
Yeah, when
careful there.
it's ugly, it's really ugly.
Exactly, exactly. All right, excellent, guys. Let's head over to our community so we can see what's coming up for this week with our webinars and what's scheduled for the following week as well.
Well, there you go. Well, last night we had our onboarding class with Carlos, and that happens every Monday, which means that today I get to present. So I'm excited to be able to present my closing strategy. Into the close, I really only have one trade that happens at the same time every day. It's called my 1 to 10, and we'll be talking about that tonight. I'm going to go in depth. I'm going to talk about how it works, outline the key tenets of it. We traded it yesterday into the close in the chat room with the team and got a good trade out of it. And we'll talk about that. Hopefully, we'll get another one today that I can use to lead into that webinar. But whether I do or not, that's what we're talking about. 8 o'clock in the webinar room, and then we will have a mystery webinar next week. After which Andrew will be presenting on the 21st. Wednesdays are all about psychology, and as I've mentioned consistently through this, it's an early one this week. All right, so if you're putting it in your calendar, make sure you know it's 1 hour after the market close at 5 o'clock. Creta is going to be with us talking about how faulty thinking can lead to messing up your trades. I mean, we all are guilty of that. We all need help there. So I love Creta's webinars. It's going to be a great one to attend. Again in the webinar room, 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Next week, Mike is going to be presenting how to show yourself the money, and I issue the challenge again. We got to make him say the words, make him say it, right? Anyways, and that'll be on the 15th at 8 o'clock. Thursdays are all about mentorship, and we always have 2 sessions on mentorship with John and Thor at 11 and 8, respectively. So those are always good for our members because it gives them a chance to ask their questions and sort of work through anything that might have happened during the week that we can provide support with. Don't forget, our options room is open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Being a Tuesday, it's not open today, but put it on your calendar for tomorrow if you're a member, because that options room really provides great insight. They're really building it up so that they, can help not only those that are brand new, but those that have a ton of experience. Jared, you're not going to find anybody that can talk deeper on options than Jared. And Megan likes to say that she's the newbie that's learning, but she knows a lot more than she pretends. So, but they're there to help. And I said they've invited me. I'm eager to start joining that room to learn myself. We just finished our big community event in person, which was the live session in San Diego. It was a lot of fun. Haven't started planning the next one, but when we do, we will let you know. For now, we encourage you to be part of the chat room and use our online tools. TradingTerminal.com was announced at that San Diego session. They have a new dark mode. We can look at it with white screens or black screens now, which, as I said, Andrew's traveling today, so I can say without worry about him listening to me, it's about time, buddy, right? You told me that dark was never a thing and you shouldn't do it. People wanted it, so there. Anyways, but in there, you got a ton of information. Whether you go to the insider information, you use the scanners, which is what we use to build our list here in the morning, the news, where I've been pulling the news all morning about what's going on, and of course, the calendar, which gives me IPOs, economic activity around the world, as well as an oversight to what's happening with our earnings. That's the thing I was thinking of. So there you go. So use tradingterminal.com. As we learned yesterday, if you want to join the community on a trial basis, now is the time to do it. It's free. Now, free with an asterisk. There's a $1 fee just because when we do free, the bots get sicked upon us, right? And then they try and jump in with all of these accounts that spam our chat room. We've fallen for that before. We're not going to fall for it again. So there's a $1 fee that just stops those bot signups, but essentially it is completely free. So, just join us, see if it's the right room for you. We really want you to just check it out, see how it functions. We're confident that you'll find something to love in here, whether it's in our regular chat room or the options room. And then, if you like what you see and you want the educational material that we provide, then you can join on one of our Build Monthly or annual membership levels, the Elite Annual being the best deal. So hopefully we'll see you soon in the chat room.
Absolutely. Thank you, Peter, for that. All right, guys, let's get into it. Let's see what we have here as far as our list. Right now on deck, I have Meta, Rivian, Tesla, and NVIDIA. Ooh, look at Tesla's drop in the last couple of minutes here. So that is very, very interesting. And it's funny, we were doing the onboarding class yesterday and someone asked, do we trade anything else but Tesla? And we do, but man, it's like when you're hot, you're hot. And Tesla is hot right now and it's been hot for a very, very long time. If you go back and look at any of these days here, there's opportunities literally, guys, left and right. And I know some traders, especially newer traders, when they start out, they don't want to trade a stock that's $191. They want to stick within that comfortable zone of, between 20, 50, $60 stock. But trust me, it's the same thing. That's all kind of a mental. You'll have to take less shares, and you should take less shares on Tesla because it can move quite a bit. A stock that can give you, a $3-4 move, you don't need to take a whole lot of shares, right? You can take a little bit of shares and do very well. And yeah, it's a stock that, I can't remember how long this thing has been in place. Seems like forever, Peter. This thing's been
It pretty
hopping.
much has been forever. I mean, it's been in play probably not since it opened. I don't even know when it came on the market. How long we've been trading Tesla? It's got to be a good 7 years now.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but
Is it
yeah,
7 years?
it's
Seems like a
certainly,
lot. Yeah,
yeah, it's
probably
certainly
less.
been in
Huh?
play for the last five or so at least.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
It's
even,
definitely been a while.
it's funny because if you look back pre 2020, the chart looks pretty flat, but it's only flat because it had grown so much. But I do remember trading it prior to 2020 because even back then it had movement in 2015, 16. Wow, look at this. This actually went public in 2012,
Yeah,
2010.
it showed 2010, but I don't think we. Well, I wasn't training this time, but it looks pretty flat here. We were definitely in here for the fun of it, which was 2018 or 2019 when this thing just went wild. And it's been it's been a hell of a run. Now it has come down in the past, right? It's been quiet, but lately, the last 6 months, I mean, it's just been really on fire, really. And not just that is in most cases, a lot of days, is the only thing that's moving well. And that's what kind of makes it
Mhm.
sticks out a little bit, right? Like there's days in the last even 2 weeks where Tesla's the only thing that traded decent, right? So that makes it even more of our favorite here. So definitely on deck there, dropping a little bit. Let's do some levels and see what we can find out of this thing. Dustin, Powell is speaking not now. He's speaking. Is it like 10:30 or something? I believe, or 11. I forget what time Powell is having his thing today. 10 o'clock. Thank you,
Yeah, 10
Cindy.
o'clock. It's
Okay, there
10.
we go. 10 o'clock.
We got to say, Carlos, we have to
Yeah.
talk about this. Master Chief is complimenting us on our attire. I'm
Oh,
not sure
thank you.
why. I mean, we're professional traders, and
We're all
nothing says
professional traders.
professional trader more than a collar. So, that's why
Uh,
you can't don't hate us because we're beautiful. We can't help it. We just are who we are.
oh man, Master Chief, good friend of ours there.
They're not
All right,
wearing
guys.
pants. That's right. We balance
Exactly.
it off
Don't
by.
expect shoes and slacks. Let's not go too far now. Okay, this is this is a show we're waist up. Here we go, guys. Meta this morning, high of the pre-market, very close to the high from yesterday. Not quite there yet, though. We're sitting at 189.50. Towards the bottom of this, we do have the low of the pre-market, also not close to the low from 2 days ago. Not quite, but very close at 186.92. I also have a level here, guys. I think it's worth noting where the price action is now. Probably a little bit above here around 188.36. We do have a level there, and that also is the open and the close, actually. I'm sorry, the open of this day here, it's just yesterday. So very close to that as well. I think worth keeping an eye on, see where that is going to go there. All right, excellent. Now towards the top, we do have a couple of days here. We did have a pop and a heavy rejection here. Obviously, this is your big level over at a 196. We'll slam a level there, 196.49, and then another area at 193.50. I don't see that type of move happening today. These are your levels, obviously, where they're very clear. But we will have to see how things get going, especially with everything happening today. Towards the bottom, previous day close, you're pretty much set here. I will only mark that one level here in case we do get some kind of flush today. 181.23 could be a decent area where you can have some stuff happening there. Looking at Rivian 1.7 million shares traded, guys. We got tons of volume on this thing. Low of the pre-market right now, 1581. We will slam a level there towards the top. Another one at 1630 is your high of your pre-market. Let's do one there as well. And then outside of this range that we got going on here, we're surrounded by the previous day close, highs and lows of the last two trading days. These two guys right over here. But towards the bottom, we do have this level here at 1509. And I think once you set that in, you're pretty much good to go here, guys. I mean, you got plenty of levels here on Rivian. Some very interesting action. We had this big drop, we recover, and then we are gapping down again towards the low of this area of big support. This 1581 could be a nice one this morning. Already, we're bouncing from that in the pre-market so far. Here's a big one, Tesla, guys. Again, we're just looking at this. Had a nice drop here at 9 a.m. Towards 191.23. So we will put our pre-market low there. Towards the bottom of this, we also have 186.16. That'll be the next daily level that I see that's significant. And then once you leave that there, you're pretty much set, guys. Highs and lows surrounding the price action. Towards the top, you're pretty much have everything you need. Maybe right here you do have a 196.06. I think that looks interesting. You have a couple of days opening, closing, and using that as support right around that area. So we've been flirting with this quite a bit. Might be worth having it marked down just in case we do get into the green territory and get a run here. Last but not least, we do have Nvidia. Not doing a whole lot right now, but again, we like Nvidia. It can trade very well. High of the pre-market 236.86 towards the bottom. The low of the pre-market, I believe, is just a couple of pennies below here. The previous day closed at 235.47. And once you do this, guys, you're pretty much set here. Highs and lows for the last two trading days. Towards the top, your cover. Towards the bottom, you can possibly add this 233.36, where you're seeing a couple of days again, opening and closing right around that area as well. So once you do that, I think you're pretty set as far as levels. We got some possibles here with Microsoft. DKS has a nice big gap up. I think, I think Dix will be the sleeper for today, man. I really think that I know they're so bad, but at times, but I think it's worth moving up. I like the pop today. And if we get any kind of weakness, I'm gonna love this for sure back to 132 here. So let's see. Gonna move this up. Let's do some levels quickly on it. 142.01 is your high of your pre-market. Heading towards the bottom, the low of the pre-market, all the way down here below every level, including the last two for the last two trading days. 136.62, and then right up here 138.40. I think we have some decent stuff here. Again, I'm more interested in this thing showing some weakness. I know it's strong today, but if it can show some more reaction, hopefully we can get a drop to 132. All right, that is our list. Just trying to see if we miss anything else. For the most part, see our moderators are here: Jared, Thor, Susan, Mike, Megan. Your list, Peter, working on.
I was trying to answer a question here from Clay asking if we can
Mm-hmm.
mark levels in the trading terminal simulator. So the simulator gives you real-time data on the market, and you can put there's got like every study under man, but I don't see how to set levels. So I'm going to ask about that. Anybody know? You can? Matthew says you can. Figured that would be in there. Do you know what the function at top right?
Yep, excellent. Um, so solution is asking, have I used Interactive Brokers platform
Oh, look at
TWS,
that.
and it's so if I like it. You found something?
Yeah, you can draw lines and all sorts of things on it. So
On what?
look at that. Fantastic. Yes, you can. You can draw lines and put levels on your charts. So there you go.
Oh, on the yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear the question, but yes, you
Horizontal
can.
line.
Yeah,
You just
you can
put in a
even
horizontal
change,
line and then you
and I
got it.
just
Yes, indeed. Look at that. See,
yeah,
members know how these things work. That's fantastic. You can draw right
and
in
you
there.
can
So that's awesome.
actually do this as well. You can change the thickness of the lines, guys, and let me show you because I know some people my password's not safe. I'm not worried. I'm not gonna do it. Forget it. But there's a way you can change the thickness of the line. So if you have like the VWAP line seems to be a little bit light, you could click on that. You could change the width and make it thicker. So yeah, so it has a lot of pretty cool features, guys, to take advantage of.
Yep.
All right, excellent, guys. We're all set. Let's get to our moderators list, and then we'll hand it off to was Brian? Not sure if he's traveling or not.
No, Brian's also traveling. This
Yeah,
morning, we're going to have Thor and Paris with us for the open. So
excellent,
that
excellent.
should be awesome. They're both great open traders.
Yeah, they're very, very good. All right, guys, here's the moderators list. We have Jared, Meta, Rivian, Tesla, secondary list, NVIDIA, AI, United Airlines, and Delta. Thor's looking at Meta, Tesla, AMD, and Uber. Susan will be looking at Meta and Tesla. Mike, Meta. Megan, also Meta, but including the SPY as well. So, guys, that is our list. Have an amazing trading day over on YouTube. We're going to continue here in our chat. You can get in completely for, well, not for free. You can get in for $1, right? You can join us for $1 here on the intro membership for 7 days, and you can continue in the chat. So take advantage of that, and we will see you guys at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Have a great, great trading day.
Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for being with us.